Hey, what's up guys? Joker here, and I hope you all had a great weekend. I had a great one here myself at home with the family, and we also had my parents and my grandmother over yesterday for Sunday sauce and watching football. The Raiders kicked ass and pulled out a close one against the Lions, so had an absolutely fantastic weekend. I hope you guys did as well. But today we're going to be getting back into the swing of things with a couple of news stories in the world of tech and PC gaming. First up, we're going to be talking about the Intel i9-9900KS, and would you spend $1,200 on a 9900KS that could do 5.2 gigahertz on Silicon Lottery? We'll talk about that. Also, Lisa Su has confirmed some early Ryzen 4000 CPUs to be coming in early 2020, and Bioware has teased Dragon Age 4 and possibly an announcement that could be coming just next month. But first, today's video is brought to you by PowerColor and their Red Devil RX 5700 XT graphics card. The Red Devil 5700 XT features a 10-phase VRM, which is more than the 7-phase VRM found on the reference 5700 XT, as well as most other partner cards out there. The Red Devil also offers a triple fan heatsink, which promises to not only keep your card cooler than the reference design, but also significantly quieter. For more information on where you could pick up the Red Devil 5700 XT, as well as my full review, please check out the links down in the description below. So first up, I want to talk about the i9-9900KS, which is possibly one of the most pointless launches this year, other than the 1660 Super, which we also saw last week. Last week was a good week for really pointless hardware launches, and now we've got these binned 9900KS CPUs from Intel, which is basically just a 9900K, but it's binned, and they could do 5 gigahertz all-core. They could boost that pretty comfortably, so I guess it's a good purchase if you don't want to overclock at all. You don't feel comfortable overclocking. And to take that a step further, we also have someone like Silicon Lottery, who provides processors that have been then rebinned by them. And let me get this out before I start talking about the pricing over here, because they do provide a very good service. It's a good service for people that do want a guarantee as far as an overclock on the processor, and it's also pretty viable if you are into extreme overclocking and you want to ensure you're getting a golden sample so that you can do things like dry ice and LN2. Like recently, Bioware with the 9900KS just last week, he was able to hit 6 gigahertz all-core on the 9900KS using dry ice. So for those types of purposes, I think it's viable to go out and seek out a CPU that could do 5.2 gigahertz, but for the normal person, it's not really worth spending $1,200 just to be able to get 200 megahertz more on top of it, when you're also going to increase the heat of that processor as well. So over on Silicon Lottery, as you can see, here's the 9900KS 5.2 gigahertz, $1,200, and it's already sold out. And this is running at 1.325 volts, which is actually a very good voltage for the 900Ks or the KS at this type of clock speed. But it's also running an AVX offset of 2. And AVX is a specific type of workload which you could see on your CPU, and it's actually more common than you might think. Pretty much any serious workload, if it's like Photoshop or video editing, Blender, anything like that, is going to be using AVX offset. So even if you are running it at 5.2 gigahertz and you have an AVX offset of 2 to help offset some of the temperatures, it's going to drop down to 5 gigahertz anyway. So you're really getting a 5 gigahertz processor because of the AVX offset. So you're really not entirely getting a 5.2 gigahertz because it's not going to run at that all the time. So it's just something worth noting that, $1,200 is probably not going to be worth it for these. They've also got 5.1 gigahertz ones for $750, and then 5 gigahertz guaranteed on all cores for $599, which is only $50 more than the base ones which you could buy in any retailer, which would still probably not be a very wise purchase because all of those should be able to hit 5 gigahertz pretty easily just by basically going in there and setting it to all core so that it stays at that all of the time. So yeah, $1,200 for the 9900KS at 5.2 gigahertz, which, as I said, with that AVX offset, and under any serious workload where you would actually want it to be running at that, it's actually going to be running at 5 gigahertz. So I just wanted to make this say that to basically, dissuade anyone from going out and spending $1,200 on one of these processors. If you want a 9900K or a 9900KS, go to Amazon, go to Newegg like everyone else, spend $550 and call it a day. They should be able to hit 5 gigahertz, no problem, at a fairly reasonable voltage, as these are bin CPUs. I'm currently running my 9900K at 4.8 gigahertz, and the only reason I'm doing that is to get better temperatures. I can actually do 5.2 gigahertz on my processor, but I have to run it at 1.35 volts, and the temperatures get absolutely insane. So I run it at 4.8 gigahertz because I can run the voltage all the way down as low as 1.23 volts, and the temperatures are drastically improved by that. And honestly, even 4.8 versus 5.2, the performance gains you would see there would be so minimal. And I have more recently gotten more into the fact of downclocking my stuff rather than overclocking it, because I just find that I get a much more stable product, and it's going to produce a lot less heat in my system and in my office here. So I'm much more recently, like I said, I prefer to go maybe drop it down 100 megahertz or 200 megahertz, because I find that when you do that, you can lower the voltage down so drastically that the temperatures improve immensely. So that's what I've done with my 1900K. Maybe we could do a dedicated video on that for people out there that maybe aren't familiar with overclocking or underclocking. You might want to see the differences there, as like I said, the performance as far as like playing a game, the frame rate wise, especially gaming at 4K like I do, is going to be like maybe 1 to 2 FPS. It's not going to be a major difference whatsoever, as 99.9% of the games I'm playing, I'm GPU bound anyway, playing at 4K, and you probably would be even playing at something like ultra wide. 1440p, you can definitely find even some newer games where you would not be GPU limited as much, even playing at ultra settings. But yeah, I find running it at 4.8 is actually better for me. So that's my opinion, though. Let me know yours guys' thoughts on this down in the comments below. Did I just say yours guys? Yeah, I just pluralized the plural word. I don't know. Never mind. Let's move on to the next subject, Selby. Shall we? Not Selby. Shall we? Which is that Lisa Su has confirmed that AMD Ryzen 4000 CPUs will be coming in early 2020. These are going to be in the form of mobile processors and APUs, which are going to be using Vega graphics on them yet again. So they are still yet to bring Navi into these APUs. They are going to be sticking with Vega for the time being, as we did already see a die shrink of Vega earlier this year, I should say, with Radeon 7 down to 7 nanometers. So now we're going to see Vega yet again making a return in the APUs for the mobile market in early 2020. And she also did confirm Zen 3 shipping throughout next year as well. So let's go ahead to PC Games and take a look at the statement officially from Lisa Su. She said, "We're also pretty excited as we go into 2020. You'll start to see our next generation mobile products as well as coming in early 2020. You'll see the 7nm mobile chips that have yet to come to market. That's a pretty strong portfolio." Then she goes on to say, "We're well underway with the Zen 3 as a follow-on as well for 2020. Lots of product activity. Even though 2019 was a big product year, I think 2020 will be an even larger product year for us." Obviously, they're talking about the huge launch of Zen 2 and the Ryzen 3000 series, 12 cores. We're still waiting on that 3950X 16 core. Can't wait to get my hands on that and throw it into my render system, as the 12 core that I'm using is an absolute beast and able to push out videos to be able to upload on the channel super fast. So definitely can't wait to see those 3950Xs. And of course, what's going to come with Zen 3. I don't really expect Zen 3 to be, I don't think we're going to see an improvement in terms of core counts at all, as they're still going to be running on 7 nanometers. So we won't see anything like that probably for another few years, where we start to see the core count on the mainstream creep up a little bit more. But it is also worth noting that at least through Zen 3, they are going to be sticking with AM4 motherboards. So that's a really good thing for anyone that's still out there hanging on to any of the AM4 motherboards. They should still work on the new processors. You might not be able to take advantage of all of the latest features that they introduced, like PCI Gen 4 and things like that, if you're on a little bit older board like a B350 or something. But at least you can still stick with your old motherboard if you do pick up anything all the way up to the Ryzen 4000 CPUs for right now. We'll still have to wait and see on Ryzen 5000. Those might require, they might go to a new motherboard for those, but we just really don't know yet. But we do know that at least through the year 2020, AM4 motherboards are still going to work as long as you're on, the latest BIOS revision whenever these new processors come out, and you should be able to continue going ahead and using that without an issue. Last up, but certainly not least, Bioware has teased Dragon Age 4 and a possible reveal coming on December 4th. So just a month away from today, we could be getting an announcement, maybe even a trailer for Dragon Age 4, which I am hesitant to be excited about, as I did not like Dragon Age 2. didn't really like Dragon Age Inquisition. I loved Dragon Age Origins. And then also, Bioware has just been kind of a bit of a shit show as of late with things like Anthem and the Mass Effect Andromeda. Both of those games were awful, and I loved Mass Effect 1 through 3 immensely. I didn't even mind the ending of Mass Effect 3 that much, honestly, because I thought the gameplay all the way up until that point made it a pretty solid product, although I know a lot of other people were disappointed. But I just enjoyed the gameplay and the interactions with all the different characters in those games, and that was the same way how I felt about Dragon Age Origins. But ever since then, they've gotten away from that, and with Mass Effect Andromeda and then everything surrounding Anthem and that live service shit show, I'm holding back a little bit my excitement for Dragon Age 4, although this is a franchise that I've wanted to see develop over the past few years, ever since Origins, really, which was one of the best RPGs I ever played. I absolutely loved that game. I did several playthroughs because you have all the different origin stories for the different character classes and backgrounds and stuff like that, which adds basically a whole new beginning to the content. So it was just an incredible game, and one that I would honestly, can we just get a Dragon Age Origins remaster? Can we just do that? Just do that. Bring that into Frostbite engine or something. Make it some ridiculously hot graphics, and I would be all over that like a rash. But BioWare did tease this over on Twitter, so a lot of people have been talking about it. Here's what BioWare had to say on the matter. They said, "Today marks 10 years of Dragon Age." This is for yesterday, by the way. So today marks 10 years of Dragon Age. This year, we're excited to join the community's party on December 4th and celebrate a decade together in the world we all love. See you on 12/4 for Dragon Age Day. And the element that has people excited about this possibly being a Dragon Age 4 announcement is that they replace the A in age with a 4, which some people did comment on this post over on DSOG that could just be because it's on December 4th. But, it also could be them announcing Dragon Age 4, which honestly, I'm leaning more towards that. I think that we are going to see a Dragon Age 4 announcement on December 4th, but I'm going to, hold back a little bit for my excitement. But, if you guys are amped to see Dragon Age 4 come out, let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know what you thought about the previous Dragon Ages since Origins. I think a lot of people were fans of Origins that liked the series, but Dragon Age 2 I think was easily the worst. Inquisition was definitely a step forward, but I still didn't really feel like they captured what made Origins so special. And it's kind of hard to put a finger on, but it was never anywhere near the same level as quality in terms of the storytelling as Dragon Age Origins, at least for me. But, let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts have been so far on the Dragon Age franchise and possibly what you'd like to see in Dragon Age 4. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. We are less than 24 hours away for Red Dead Redemption 2. I saw that it is going to be releasing tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be 1 p.m. British time, or that's 5 a.m. Pacific time, and it's basically everyone's getting it at the same exact moment. It's just going to depend on your time zone. So go from there. It's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November 5th. So if you're like in New Zealand, it's probably going to be like, I think it's at like 2 a.m. or something on the 6th. So that's basically the launch times there for Red Dead Redemption 2, which I cannot wait for. I'm definitely going to be benchmarking that game throughout tomorrow on a bunch of different graphics cards. Fingers crossed that they do include a benchmark in the game, as it'll make my life a hell of a lot easier. And if there's not a benchmark built in, I'm a little unsure about which area I would choose to test the game in. I would like to probably, if you play the game, you might be familiar with the area called Saint Denis, which is a very active city, but there's also a lot of variables there. There's lots of, you go down the street, you're going to see different characters, different amounts of models on the screen at any given time. So it could be a difficult game to test to find an area that's not only demanding but also consistent, which is really going to be the difficult part with testing. So that's why I'm really hoping that they do have a built-in benchmark, because I did like the GTA 4 benchmark. So hopefully that's in there and it'll make testing a little bit easier, and so we can get the most reliable numbers possible with having the same pass every single time and all the 10 different graphics cards and the different resolutions that I'm going to be testing at. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. Now, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, leave a thumbs up on it down below. Subscribe if you're not already, and if you've been here for a while, ring that notification bell. That way you never miss a moment of content as soon as it goes up live here on the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Red Dead Redemption 2 benchmarking. Tara.